Arsenal keep knocking them in, and James Tarkowski loves to fuck. Welcome to the corner flag. I'm Amogh.
I'm Prashant.
And I'm Aakarsh.
That has to be one of the funnest intros I've done in the 250 almost episodes of this show, because I never thought in a show about football, in a podcast that we do about football, I would open the show talking about James Tarkowski, and I would open the show talking about James Tarkowski's sex life. But here we are.
You know, in that intro, when you said James Tarkowski likes to fuck, you almost said it with some, like personal knowledge.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Source is trust
Yeah.
me. मेरे को पता है.
Yeah. मैं खुद check करके आया.
Well, Amazon Prime has launched a new series called Married to the Game. And if clips from that show are to be believed, then, well, he does love to fuck. But it's great. How's it going, boys? How's life? How's house hunting? Aakarsh is house hunting. And,
Yeah. Hunting. I don't know if I've caught one yet, but there's something on the rope.
There is something, and both of you have come back from workout sessions. I feel like I'm the only unfit person on this group, and there's no Mukesh to give me company.
Wait a second, you're still playing football. But how often do you go to play football?
I play once a week.
But he is still the most unfit. Don't take that away from him. And I feel like regardless of whether we were working out or not, Amogh, you were probably always the most unfit.
Okay, भाई ये थोड़ा ज्यादा हो रहा है, मैं काफी फिट है, guys. मैं काफी fit है.
Yeah, Tarkowski would know.
Exactly. When we get down. Oh, तेरी हंसी अभी बंद कर लेते हैं, प्रशांत. Chelsea fan.
No, I laughed. I'm past it. I'm past it.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't.
If contrary to popular opinion, like forgetting this one individual Carabao Cup final against Liverpool, contrary to popular, and I know everybody, we all have fun making fun about Chelsea and Chelsea fans and the shit situation that they're in. And yes, don't worry, we are talking about Man United a little later. But with all the fun that we make about Chelsea and Chelsea fans, I feel like this game was actually not bad. They held Liverpool for the 90 minutes, and it's only like 2 minutes to go in extra time when Van Dijk scores the header. And it's a 1-0 victory. So they gave a game to Liverpool.
They did. I mean, it was a fun game, yeah. I don't know. Like, my only criticism to this is just the substitutions, yeah. Apart from that, nothing else.
Nothing else, huh? Not the finishing. Not Conor Gallagher's finishing, Cole Palmer's finishing.
I mean, they were unlucky. Did you see all of those? How many opportunities they got, right? If you're talking about finishing, you should have spoken about Disasi's finish. I don't know. That guy's one finish, he got the ball on the knee. This is brilliant, right? So he's got the ball on the knee and it's gone over. Now he's hoping the keeper is going to fuck up by letting the ball slip through his hands. It's in the air. Disasi knows he's missed his opportunity. He's like, I hope there's somebody else also to fuck up. Come on. Like, he missed a clear sitter over there. So
yeah,
I think he was the closest to any of the goals, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Sterling did get one in and it was disallowed for offside. So let's start with that one, because that was also a contentious decision in my book. I don't know, and I would love to know what you guys think about it, because I don't think Nicholas Jackson was offside at all. Like, there was no problem with Sterling being offside. I think Jackson played the perfect pass and Sterling had timed his run. So Sterling तो definitely onside था. I think the major issue and why VAR was called into check was because उन लोगों को लगा कि Jackson was offside.
Correct.
पर वो नहीं था ना offside.
He was.
Yeah,
just minor, just very
minor.
But as long as once they've drawn the line and it turns out red, it's still an offside. They can't. They're not going to go back.
See, now my problem is this, right? When they draw the lines, अभी footage 1080p है, Ultra HD 4K है, क्या है पता नहीं, क्योंकि वो when you pause the footage, वो थोड़ा pixelate हो जाता है, यार. It's not as crisp and clear as it needs to be. Even the lines are a little pixelated. So it's really fine margins. And wasn't there a situation where these fine margin offside goals were not going to be disallowed or anything? ऐसा कुछ तो मैंने सुना था.
अरे वो सुने कहे में तू कहाँ घुस रहा है यार. The Premier League football rules change as per day, as per game, as per height of the grass, as per what the referee ate. But I agree with you. It was negligible, and the lines are the lines. And if only someone came up with an automated way of finding out whether someone's offside or not,
Yeah, if only
that technology was available.
Right. And if only the technology was available and tested out at a major footballing tournament.
Yeah, if only it had worked perfectly.
Exactly. If only all the decisions were by and large correct, and not only were the teams happy with those decisions, but football watching fans were also generally happy and surprised. If only that was the case. If only किसी के पास ये proof होता, proof of concept. तो शायद
yeah, sadly obviously नहीं है क्योंकि होता, then there's absolutely no reason for it to be not implemented. So clearly it mustn't exist.
On a different note, Aakarsh, I had a dream that the 2022 World Cup was held in Qatar. Can you imagine?
No.
Like, apparently there's a country called Qatar.
Who plays football?
Yeah.
No. But aren't the summers in Qatar are ridiculous? It sounds like you simmed Football Manager for 100 years and now the game engine is broken. Kuch to glitch in the matrix.
Football Manager has come up with a new geopolitical situation in the Middle East. Koi to naya country ban gaya.
Or 100 years later, Qatar has taken over Brazil.
Yeah.
Now Brazil is a colony of Qatar, something like that. Because otherwise it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it does not. Gary Neville from Sky Sports ended up calling the game as Klopp's kids versus the £1 billion bottle jobs. When Pochettino was asked about this in his post-match conference, he said, "That's unfair." He's right, though.
I mean, and also mathematically he's right, because actually Chelsea's average age was younger than Liverpool's average age in this particular fixture. So, I mean, just by that, Chelsea were playing the kids, and also Liverpool have a lot of experience on the bench. So Klopp's young boys or kids or whatever, that part I don't agree with. But the blue billion bottle jobs, that sort of I
feel and I have to admit that I was a little disappointed to hear this from Gary Neville, because again, Gary Neville has had strong connections to Man United. Even in his punditry, he has some very interesting opinions about the situation at Manchester United, and we all know how much he hates Liverpool. But I feel like with his contract with Sky Sports, वो ये थोड़ा अभी propaganda piece
थोड़ा ज़्यादा है ना?
हाँ, ये थोड़ा Liverpool propaganda लग रहा था मुझे. Like, what you're saying is right, Aakarsh. Klopp's kids is like you're putting this team on an unnecessary pedestal. क्योंकि like you said, काफी सारा experience था उसमें. जो मैकलिस्टर था उसमें जो World Cup जीत के आया है. Cody Gakpo has been playing in the Premier League for a while now. Luis Diaz to Liverpool was considered to be Mo Salah ka replacement. If he hadn't had issues with injuries and his parents being kidnapped,
and their bargain buy,
good football manager gone wild.
Yeah, Virgil van Dijk bargain buy was also in defense. So, like, realistically speaking, you had a fairly strong team. Matlab, you played maybe 2 or 3 academy graduates.
I think,
but that came off the bench.
4,
you can't really call it Klopp's kids. This is still a very competitive and strong Liverpool lineup. And not to deny that Liverpool have injury issues, but ये थोड़ा बहुत ही मतलब sweet talking हो रहा था.
Yeah. So firstly, Chelsea's average age for this fixture was lower than Liverpool's. Arsenal's average age, every fixture is lower than Liverpool's, and no one's talking about Arteta's kids and all of that.
Yeah.
And in this, I also ended up reading that Liverpool, in the number of matches lost by all the players put together from an injury point of view, are actually mid-table in the injury list. So even their injuries is a narrative that is being weaved. This season for Liverpool feels like, Klopp's last season, Klopp's kids, Klopp's, first trophy of the season goes to Klopp. Klopp wants the quadruple. All the narratives, Liverpool BJP hai. They really know how to spin the narrative in their favor. Be it kids, be it injuries. इतना बुरा कुछ हो नहीं रहा है.
ये
जा रहे हैं Seawalk पे.
ये edit होगा क्योंकि
अगर if this episode doesn't come out, guys, if we don't have an episode next week for the next episode.
If we don't have an episode next week, you know who did it. But yes, what you said about the narrative and about Klopp and the quadruple. Klopp did call this.
Seriously, वो card. नहीं तो मैं कट जाऊंगा.
अच्छा वो Klopp वाला ना हाँ ठीक है वो कट. No, Klopp called this one of the most special trophy wins of his career. And he's also thoda matlab he's taking the piss.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know,
No, even Van Dijk did, no, at the end of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, he said that, lots of people must be, like, rival football fans must be hating on it because, it's just the Carabao Cup. But he's like, yeah, it's special. You would love to be here. And yeah, fair.
Sure, I get it.
Trophy
Yeah.
jeeta, it's sahi hai. But then he says something interesting. He says that nobody in England wants to see a team win the quadruple. And we are playing the FA Cup 3 days from now. I don't know what team I'll put out.
Yeah.
जो टीम है वो तो डालेगा Klopp.
हम underdog. You know, it's a thing of we're the underdogs. No one's backing us. Everyone's backing them. It's like, do it for Klopp, do it.
So
it's that hi bichare.
So here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting thing. The same lineup, the same bench of the academy players. He played the same strategy or formation, everything that you can say at the Luton game as well. Only except the academy games that the academy players that he had, I think there were 4 he brought out in the extra time. Out of those 4, the 3 of them were the same that came in, I think from the 60th, 70th minute against Luton Town. So he's tried and tested it. If the narrative was saying that if Klopp really strategized, he planned this moment forward, thinking this through, I would have agreed with this narrative. Now this just feels like a different narrative. So
मतलब ये time pass है. Like it's just
correct. Like it's a hard-hitting headline when you say that Klopp's kids beat a big blue billion pound whatever this thing, as opposed to Klopp's kids beating Luton Town.
Yeah, and let's be honest, like at no point were Chelsea favorites in this game. Like I know Chelsea are a historic club and they have a lot of pedigree in these tournaments, but on current form and just looking at where the Premier League table is sitting and where these teams are, and just the run of results that both these teams have had, I don't think there was anyone, Chelsea fans included, who would have gone into this match thinking, yeah, Chelsea have a chance. Right? Like, we are surprised that Chelsea held Liverpool in a final up until extra time at 0-0 and only managed to lose 1-0.
Yeah.
Like, I for one, was expecting a rout. I was expecting an easy
game to be done now.
3-0 victory, at least 2-0 at least victory. I was expecting for Liverpool, but nobody saw Chelsea as favorites. So Klopp's kids is a bit extra.
Yeah, and I also feel like not only this current Chelsea in their current form, but Chelsea, and which is why I agree with Neville calling them the bottle jobs, they've become the first side in English football history to lose six consecutive cup finals. That is bottle jobs. 2019 EFL Cup, 2020 FA Cup, 21 FA Cup, 22 EFL Cup, 22 also the FA Cup, and this one. So it's clearly a larger club issue.
Yeah.
But since I have been batting so hard against the media favorites and I want to get into good books, that goal which you skipped.
Yeah.
The Van Dijk goal that was disallowed. What do you all think about that?
The Endo one?
Yeah.
I was ready to put the TV off. I was like, I'm done. Game khatam, finish. Fuck it. I'm going to go and watch a movie. But then, like I said, oh shit, there's a VAR check happening and all. So I didn't know what was happening at the first place. So clearly I had no idea what this concept of interference of the game, because Endo was standing in front of him. I didn't know this was a thing. But I mean,
no, we've seen offsides given for interfering with play, but
not in this way. Not in this way, I think. I haven't seen this in this way.
I thought, honestly, what the fuck is the offside rule anymore?
Exactly. Right? What is happening, please, man?
You know, many, not even many, like fairly recently, for a while, the most common sexist fucking joke in the world of football was men trying to get their wives or girlfriends to understand the offside rule.
Right.
And I feel somebody at IFAB or FIFA or whoever controls the rules, उन्होंने बोला कि we are going to clamp down on sexism. We are not going to make it so easy that everybody understands it. We are going to make it so tough that nobody fucking understands it. अभी बेंचो लौंडे लोग को भी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि क्या ऑफसाइड रूल है. If there's any guy who thinks that, oh yeah, you watch football, oh why don't you explain the offside rule? That all a girl has to do is, why don't you, mother chod? तू बता. तू बता क्या है?
And you know, I feel like, again, my cricket knowledge is very limited, but I know that no one understands the Duckworth-Lewis method. But the umpires do, na. So someone understands it, na. तो ठीक है, मेरे को, I don't need to know. As far as the officials know, here even the officials don't know what's happening. No one knows what's happening.
Also with cricket, the officials know, and then once the officials make the decision, एक पूरा summary आता है screen पे.
Correct.
कि ऐसे हुआ तो ये सिनारियो में इतना रन चाहिए था जीतने के लिए अकॉर्डिंग टू द डकवर्थ लुईस मेथड, पर वो नहीं मिला उन लोग को, इसलिए वो लोग हार चुके हैं. और वो भी हारे हैं इतने रन से बिकॉज दिस इज द मैथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशन ऑफ द होल थिंग. वन वुड आर्ग्यू दैट क्रिकेट इज अ स्पोर्ट दैट अलाउज यू द लग्जरी ऑफ सो मच टाइम बिकॉज एक पूरा दिन चला जाता है एक मैच देखने में. बट रिगार्डलेस ऑफ दैट आई जस्ट फील के stop disrespecting the fans so much, क्योंकि यार वही लोग तो तुम्हारे जो टीवी डील्स के लिए पैसे दे रहे हैं, वही लोग तुम्हारे टिकट्स खरीद रहे हैं स्टेडियम में जाके, they are watching the matches. If you alienate them, if you make it so out of touch and so confusing for that common man in the stadium to understand, they are going to start watching darts or fucking rugby or something.
Yeah,
I already started. I've been watching snooker championship and all that, bro.
क्या बात है, क्या बात है. I think मैं तो वर्ल्ड सीरीज ऑफ पोकर शुरू करने वाला हूँ रेगुलरली.
मेरे लिए तो अभी F1 सीजन चालू होने वाला है, तो I'm set.
Best.
I've also moved on to chess and poker. मैं ये देखूंगा. यहाँ पे बेसिक रूल्स है, सबको समझ में आते हैं. हजारों साल से चेंज नहीं किया, हजार नहीं, चलो 100 साल से तो चेंज नहीं हुआ है. It's fine.
Suddenly when the IFAB comes into chess, they'll be like, actually the queen can fly. ऐसे तो उसको उठा के वहां पे बाजू वाले टेबल पे भी रख सकते हैं, उसका रीच उधर तक है.
Interdimensional chess.
That is called chess of multiverse. But talking about £1 billion bottle jobs and talking about the billions in Chelsea, Todd Bowley was in a bit of trouble because उसने नया ticket price announce किया है. If you want to watch a game at Stamford Bridge and you want to be in that really amazing place, that really amazing bunch of seats right behind the Chelsea dugout, there is a way for you to do that. Those seats are part of something called the Dugout Club, and tickets for those are £5,000 each. मतलब अगर in rupees you have to convert, roughly 5 लाख रुपए का एक सीट है. Fun. ऐसे लग रहा है कि इन लोग को पता ही नहीं है इन्फ्लेशन क्या होता है, रिसेशन क्या होता है, रियल लाइफ जो चल रहा है लाइफ में. They have no understanding of what that is.
I will not be surprised if Bowley's next move is to be like, see, at some point Pochettino is going to have to go.
Yeah.
Then he's going to be like, guys, £50,000, come sit in the manager's seat, be the manager. एक हफ्ता का manager, वो नाटक देखेगा, he'll get inspired. Like एक हफ्ते का manager बनो, £50,000 दो, weekly manager shifts will happen.
Which is amazing because over here when we play football, we pay to play. You pay to manage your team because
and all the players will be like, this is bullshit, we want to go, and then Bowley will be like, tu 8 साल का contract sign किया, you are my slave, tu खेल.
I mean, honestly, I don't blame Bowley because the way things are going, even he must be like, literally anybody could be better in that dugout. क्योंकि वैसे भी Pochettino कुछ लाइफ में जीता नहीं है. So in a way, he's at the same level as, let's say, you or I, if we had £5,000, because we can also be like, bro, मैंने तो PSG के साथ चैंपियंस लीग जीता है फुटबॉल मैनेजर में, उसने तो वो भी नहीं किया.
Correct.
So, you know, we are quite qualified. But I just want to know, like, what would be the attraction of a Chelsea fan sitting behind Pochettino in the dugout? Like, I would, if anybody who's listening or anybody who's going to see this is going to be willing to sponsor £5,000 to us, I would love to go, and I would love to just be like, hey Pochettino, गैलेगर को निकालना.
क्या कर रहा है? तो अभी तक सब्स्टिट्यूशन नहीं किया. रोलिंग सब करना, रोलिंग सब. कीपर को आगे भेज, कीपर को आगे भेज.
कीपर को आगे भेज. And like it would be, I think it would be great. Like I just wish that this was also alive and kicking when the Kepa thing with Sari happened. Of course, I was not at Stamford Bridge, but if
that would be hilarious.
If there was a fan who was there, I would have loved to be that fan just to understand exactly what Sari was shouting.
But you know what I have just thought of, and I feel like is inevitable.
What?
Is, imagine the next cup final. Wait, that's too unrealistic. Imagine like the next time Arsenal is playing Chelsea. I am sure there will be some Arsenal fan who will get himself crowdfunded, go in a Chelsea t-shirt, sit behind the dugout, and then as soon as kickoff happens, he'll remove his Chelsea t-shirt to reveal his Arsenal kit and spend the entire 90 minutes chanting Arsenal songs. And they can't kick him out because he's paid £5,000 to be there.
Yeah, and you would think that those seats are still fairly far away from the rowdiest of Chelsea supporters. Actually, I take that back. They're all fucking rowdy. So, can't really. प्रशांत आराम से दुबई में बैठ रहा है, बोल रहा है क्या राउडी बोल रहे हो तुम लोग. हम लोग.
It's cool, man. There's a handful of Chelsea supporters who will be like
handful.
It's a handful of people who are actually sensible enough to be like, okay, हमारा club shit है, but there's a bunch of them who will elevate that awareness to be like, अभी Pochettino को निकाल, then they'll just take it to another spectrum. So
yeah. Fantastic. From £1 billion owners to somebody who has got 25% of a club. Let's go to Man United. Man United lost 1-2 to the boys from Fulham. I mean, it felt so nice that United were on a run. I felt so optimistic about things, and then they come and do this shit. Kya bolu abhi? I think Højlund's injury has also come at the worst possible time. And
he just about found out where the back of the goal is.
Yeah, I just about got him into my FPL. I got one week of returns, and then fucked.
It's your fault. You caused it.
I probably caused it. Yeah, it's my fault only. What was hilarious was it was Calvin Bassey and Alex Iwobi who scored the goals, both the Nigerian internationals who scored the goals. And fun fact, there's a United Twitter account, called United Trey. He's a fucking troll. वो लंड आदमी है एक नंबर का. Because throughout, मतलब he has never been to Old Trafford. ठीक है, ये आदमी कभी मैनचेस्टर गया नहीं है, ओल्ड ट्रैफर्ड गया नहीं है, पर वो ट्विटर वेरीफाइड ब्लू टिक वाला खरीद के लिया ब्लू टिक वाला आइटम है, और वो नाइजीरिया में रहता है. एंड ही हैज स्पेंट अ लॉट ऑफ हिज टाइम शिटिंग ऑन मार्कस रैशफोर्ड. Like every time Marcus Rashford has a bad game, he's on Twitter saying it's time Rashford leaves the club. We need to sell Rashford. ये वो anti-Rashford agenda.
Full agenda sounds like it. Yeah.
Then before this game, Marcus Rashford posted a picture of one jigsaw puzzle that he was solving, and he just said, "Can anybody guess which puzzle this is? First one to answer correctly wins something." And this guy replied the correct answer. I don't know if he was the first one to reply, but he replied the correct answer. And Rashford replied to him saying, "You were right. You win. I'm getting you tickets to the next United home game." तो ये लौडू स्टेडियम में था.
Thanks to Rashford's generosity.
Thanks to Rashford's generosity, this Laudu from Nigeria makes his way to Old Trafford and sees two Nigerians score against Man United. And kya? I mean, in a way, I'm happy because that shoot got what he deserved. Because everybody was just like, of all people, of all genuine Man United fans that are on Twitter,
why him?
This Chodo gets the tickets from Rashford, and everybody's like, does Marcus know what he's been tweeting? They're putting screenshots of his previous tweets and all. But that was hilarious. But yeah, overall, fuck all performance.
97th minute, huh?
Yeah. And after Maguire equalized for us. After Maguire equalized in the 92nd minute or something.
And he missed another couple of sitters before that, I think.
No, I mean, it wasn't a sitter. It was a header from a corner.
Yeah.
A header from a corner. It wasn't a sitter.
But if Slabhead doesn't score headers, then now what's he going to do?
Yeah, that is true. There is light at the end of the tunnel though, because new co-owner Jim Ratcliffe apparently wants to sign Ross Barkley next summer.
And lights gone. There was light at the end of the tunnel when you said new owner, and then you said Ross Barkley and light gone.
Bro, with this new ownership, I had such a feeling of optimism ki yaar, anybody is better than the Glazers. Anybody. Literally, my left toenail is better than Joel and Avram Glazer. और ये आया एंड आई एम लाइक फक, ये बहुत सारी अच्छी बातें कर रहा है, ओल्ड ट्रैफोर्ड को रीडेवलप करने का है, वो गवर्नमेंट से पैसा मांग रहा है रीडेवलपमेंट के लिए, मतलब चांस पे डांस मार रहा है ये आदमी. एंड I was like, चल ठीक है, अच्छा है. He's saying things like, oh, like people who are not performing will be transferred, and we are going to relook at the whole footballing operation. And I'm like, yeah man, fucking yeah, let's do this. मैन सिटी सीईओ को लेके आया, अभी डैन एशवर्थ को ले आ रहा है फ्रॉम न्यूकासल एज डायरेक्टर ऑफ फुटबॉल. All good moves, and then after all of that you're saying Ross Barkley को लाओ. तो बेंचो क्यों ला रहे हो स्पोर्टिंग डायरेक्टर यार, क्यों ला रहे हो? And why does he want Ross Barkley? Because when Ross Barkley was in Nice on loan, Jim Ratcliffe also owns Nice in the French league. तो वो उसको उधर वो बहुत पसंद आया, और वो उधर उसके मैनेजर को लूसियन फावरे को बोल रहा है कि नहीं इसको खिला, इसको खिला. लाइक तू ओनर है भाई, तू ओनर की तरह बन प्लीज. तू जिम रैटक्लिफ है, तू टॉड बोली नहीं है, प्लीज मत बन.
यस.
तू डैन एशवर्थ को, वन ऑफ द बेस्ट स्पोर्टिंग डायरेक्टर्स इन इंग्लैंड राइट नाउ, उसने ब्राइटन का पूरा ये सब ट्रांसफर स्ट्रेटेजी उसने क्रिएट किया. स्वानजी के लिए उसने ट्रांसफर स्ट्रेटेजी क्रिएट किया था. स्वानजी वाज डूइंग सो वेल इन द ट्रांसफर मार्केट. उसको लेके आ रहे हो तुम लोग, which is such a great deal. Finally, somebody in the director of football role who understands what the fuck they're doing, and only to be told कि बॉस को रॉस बार्कली चाहिए. मतलब बेन चोद वो उधर ही जाके बोलेगा नहीं चाहिए मेरे को मैन यूनाइटेड का जॉब, I'll stay on gardening leave at Newcastle. भूसड़ी का नहीं चाहिए मेरे को, मैं निकल रहा हूँ फुटबॉल से. This is not worth it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure he must be reconsidering.
I love it.
I love it. But if it happens, it'll make Ross Barkley's career graph so bizarre, because he's gone from Everton to Chelsea to then to where?
Everton,
Fulham.
He went from Everton to Chelsea. From Chelsea,
Villa.
He was at Aston Villa for a while. Then he went to Nice on loan. Then he came back to Luton.
And then United. Now, after that, he'll end up at like, not even Wrexham, but like Notts County. I don't get what's happening.
Ross County. Actually team hai. But yeah man, but any as a Everton Academy product, Aakarsh, do you have anything of any hope to say? Because if this transfer happens, I will look to you for some glimmer of hope.
Don't.
Wow. Wow.
If you're looking at me for glimmer of hope, I will. No, see, he was a very exciting prospect. So, बस वही है.
चलो सही है.
Jack Rodwell, Ross Barkley, same thing, you know. Lots of
I remember जब भी वो Everton पे break through कर रहा था before his move to Chelsea, I did want him to come to United. I really liked him at Everton. I thought he would be perfect for United.
He has moments.
For sure. And I feel like the way he left Everton, it was a fuck up. He was a mess all over, and I think after that he was an uphill battle. He was great at Everton. I was very upset when he left. Even now, Everton fans are still upset that Ross Barkley left, and there were rumors of him when he was moving to Luton. There was rumors that Everton will get him on a free transfer, and social media was up in arms because it hurt. Because he was an academy prospect who had potential, and the way he left, he was playing really well. So it definitely hurt because he was good, but uske baad it just went downhill from there. Man. It was a bad move at a bad time. He handled it badly, and I think all of that played in his head.
Jim Ratcliffe, in his first public interview since taking over a part of the football operations at Man United, also channeled his inner Sir Alex Ferguson, and he said he would love to knock Manchester City off their perch. वही same wording use किया, and which I thought was borderline cringe to do that as the owner, but it made things worse when Guardiola was asked about it. He said it's true. I mean, when we were Man City and we were not winning anything, and Manchester United were winning everything, we used to admire them, we used to look up to them, we used to want to be where they are, and now we are here. So the fact that they think they want to be where we are is good for them, and it will just make things more competitive, and eventually they'll get there. इतना condescension, मतलब ये embarrassing हो रहा है, ये embarrassing हो रहा है. Like it's like you're saying things to rile up the fan base, and then it is so spectacularly blowing up in your face.
Yeah, but I feel like it was a stupid thing to say only. It was always going to backfire.
Yeah, exactly.
And what else is Guardiola going to say? Nay, United is so good. Why they need to be... It's United shit. Everyone knows it.
The thing is, even if Guardiola said that, that would be sarcastic and condescending in a different way.
Correct. So at least he's being honest. Okay, yeah, they should look up to us. It's correct. No one's saying anything wrong. It just speaks volumes of how the downfall of United has been.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of City won 1-0 against Bournemouth. There's really nothing else.
There's nothing exciting about that game.
Yeah, Foden ne goal mara, City chug on, and hopefully they'll catch up to Liverpool. We'll see what happens. So, but on that note,
my only thing is that to that game, I really thought that City would probably get at least 2 or 3 goals more, considering that it might be a little close to the end. I don't know, because they aren't that high off on the goal difference. I would have thought that in this week, they would be one of those teams who would have got like a 4-goal sort of a win or a 5-goal win.
वही I feel कि आर्सेनल ने मार्केट कैप्चर किया है, ये 4 गोल 5 गोल विंस का मार्केट जो है वो आर्सेनल ने ही कैप्चर किया.
Aston Villa did.
Yeah, but by and large I feel like Arsenal are still the leaders in those score lines, and we'll talk about them in the second half. So on that note, let's take a quick break. On the other half, we'll talk about Arsenal, as I just said, and we'll talk about some interesting things about James Tarkowski's love life. Fantastic stuff. See you on the other side. Welcome back to the second half, everybody. And as always, we begin the second half with your questions. Questions with the corner flag.
Dude, answers also, huh?
Okay, our first question is by Daksh7. Daksh, he says, if you had to support any other team rather than your club, which team would it be?
In Europe, I would say Dortmund.
I've never really thought of that.
Now's your chance, Aakarsh, to select a team that wins.
Always like when while playing FIFA and all that for a few years, it's always been Spurs, but they're like as bad bottle jobs. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea. Wrexham, maybe just because that show is very nicely made.
I would probably take like well, now it's a bad idea, but I would have probably thought of taking Leicester.
Oh, okay. No, but they're doing so well in the championship.
They're doing
well. Good shout.
Okay, next one is by Arbin R. He says, will Carabao Cup win be the motivation enough to go all the way for Premier League for Liverpool?
Probably. Unfortunately, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
I
don't know. Yeah.
It's this that's changing the equation.
I feel कि motivation तो है boss. Motivation तो काफी है Liverpool में, and the fact that they are now leading the table and City have dropped points means that they have a chance now. They just need to keep their heads on and not drop points themselves. Still a while to go in the season to end, but I feel कि motivation तो है, and I can only hope that more injuries cause issues for them and they stumble. But
that's a point. Yeah, I guess there's enough motivation for it. Okay, the next one is by Fazil Abbas Panatwala. He says, just wanted to say that Carabao Cup is not a relevant trophy. I love you.
I mean, any trophy is a relevant trophy. मेरे को Florida Cup भी जीत के मजा आया था.
Premier League Stars Cup, सब.
It's beyond Everton's reach, please. I went live to watch Asia Trophy in Singapore, and no, that's not.
No, but I'm saying Klopp has a direct answer to you, because he said that some people might be thinking that this is not a great trophy to win, but you'd love to be here. So yeah, but I do agree. It doesn't mean shit. As United were the old holders of the Carabao Cup from last season, doesn't mean shit.
That's true. The next one is by Ashwin. He says, what do you guys think of Chilwell picking on the academy kids? And he also says, second part to it, he says, do you think Pep could do that with his academy squad? I don't think so.
I think he does. Pep does that. Maybe not publicly, but I'm sure Pep gives a lot of bollocking to his, not just his academy staff, I'm sure he gives a bollocking to fucking Haaland and De Bruyne also. I don't think Pep discriminates. Yeah, Pep doesn't discriminate between if you're an academy player or a first team player. If you're a star or if you're not. But yeah.
Haaland earlier this season, Haaland got jarred for scoring 2 goals and not 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes perfect sense. Next one is by Krishiv. Actually, it's not a question; it's more of a statement. He says, "I haven't given any questions in a very long time. I don't know what to say. How are y'all? Take care. Have some water."
So good, yeah. Hydration is important, Krishiv. Thank you. अभी पानी पीते हैं हम लोग.
On that note,
let's all have a sip of water.
तीनों माइक के सामने से.
Wonderful.
Amazing. That was especially for you, Krishiv.
Great advice.
Last one is by Noob Clicks. He says, Aakarsh, how do you cope after watching Everton? As Chelsea fan, it's getting tough.
यार जाता हूँ हर हफ्ते therapy, some substance addiction.
It's not your loss, Aakarsh. It's not your loss. A team in a country far away from you does not define you, Aakarsh.
Yeah. I'm learning that this season. This season I'm learning that.
क्यों पैसे दे रहा है therapist को? मेरे पास ही आ जाता.
No, but this season I'm really proud of myself. This season, last week Everton were playing Crystal Palace at 1:30 in the night, and I'm usually the kind who is very happy to ruin my very poor sleep cycle to watch Everton. And this time I was like, no, I saw the team. I was tempted to watch. I was like, no, I'm going to go to sleep. I woke up in the morning and I saw the score and I was like, oh, Everton got a point. Impressive. Moving on. And swiftly moved on. It was amazing. So I think this season I'm learning.
Yes.
And that's it. That's all the questions we've had.
Awesome. And Everton getting a point is definitely on the agenda. In fact, they got way more than just 1 point, and we'll talk about that. But sabse pehle, we'll talk about Arsenal 4, Newcastle 1. With Loris Karius in goal, starting a Premier League match after 6 years. Was there any doubt that Arsenal are going to bang at least 4 past Newcastle in this match?
Poor guy, man. I mean, I feel bad for Karius because his career is going to be defined by that one game. And which
Loris,
so
no
hard.
careers.
It's okay, Amogh. I wrote down a worse one. Don't worry. I wrote down.
Say it. ये सब episode title options है.
Careless Karius is obviously one of the one. It's just
nice.
It's just one of
better
those.
than Amogh's.
Yeah,
much
very
better.
nice. But now this is just slander. अभी ये तो बस ऐसे time pass के लिए. ये तो
If United Trey can have slander against Rashford, तू तो Amogh है.
That is true. That is very true. But Karius wasn't goal. Arsenal did score 4. Kai Havertz is getting on the score sheet quite regularly. उसको finally उसके shooting and scoring boots मिल चुके हैं. Like everything, literally everything that could go right for Arsenal is going right for Arsenal.
It's so weird that Havertz found his shooting boots after playing right back for his international side.
वो ऐसे होता है ना, वो detention होता है ना स्कूल में.
It was literally go in the corner and think about what you've been doing. Defensive corner में जा.
But so he's finally found, and the thing is they are scoring so many goals. Right, like they're on this run where they're just banging teams left, right, and center. They've put 5 goals past Palace, 3 past Liverpool, 6 past West Ham, 5 past Burnley, and now 4 past Newcastle. Scoring form to बहुत amazing hai. And plus, what's really interesting is that they're all different scorers in every match. Like, it's not like one player gets like 3 goals or something like that.
Yeah.
It's all different scorers, and the goals are coming from all over the pitch. The Sakas are scoring, Odegaards are scoring, Jesus and Kai Havertz are scoring, Kiwior scored in this game. So defenders are also scoring with Gabriel and Saliba also. So it's literally everybody scoring for Arsenal, man.
Yeah. It's amazing how many goals they've been getting. And they've been having like, I'm trying to look for it, but I can't find it. But they had this stat of they now have 6 or 7 halves where they have scored at least 2 goals, which is quite amazing to have that kind of consistency and that kind of domination. Like if you have one half where you're going to score 2 goals, then the other half can be shit and you should largely be fine if you're Arsenal.
Yeah. It's I mean, they're in the best run of form, and it's really weird that even after being in such a good run of form, they probably will not win the title.
I mean, I don't know, man. Honestly, I'm gunning for them.
Amazing choice of words.
Yeah. But between the 3 title contenders right now, for me, I hope Arsenal win it, because at least there's a new name on the board.
Yeah, but I don't want the new name to be Arsenal. Yeah.
Any new name for me.
And who else would it be? Apart from these 3? Apart from these 3, who else would you?
I would love for Spurs or Villa to win it, man.
Villa, yes. Villa, yes.
I'm on the call with you, yaar. I know it's unrealistic, but bolo na ke one day I would hope Everton also. मतलब at least कुछ तो दोस्ती यारी निभाओ.
Correct. But चलो अभी दोस्ती यारी के टाइम पे दोस्त के टीम के बारे में भी बात करते हैं. Let's talk about Everton. Everton did get a point against Crystal Palace. Against Brighton. Not Crystal Palace, against Brighton. 1-1
stoppage time they got the point.
Yeah, but that is not the most interesting and the most important thing about this bit. The fact is that they did get more than 1 point because they have got 4 points back. So only 6 points have been deducted, not the original 10. The appeal has gone through, and now with that, Everton are out of the relegation zone. They currently sit in 15th above Brentford and Nottingham Forest.
Don't say these things out of relegation. As a jinxing, you shouldn't do.
No, I'm just stating facts.
Don't. No, I mean, actually, the fact is they were never in the relegation zone. Luton was still below them. But yeah, 4 points back. Honestly, I'm so jaded, I don't know how to feel, because there's also I was hoping that they say, okay, whatever, take 4 points back, and the second charge is dropped because the second charge and the first charge are essentially the same charge. But now the fact that there is still a second charge makes me feel like, okay, for the first charge, Everton were deducted 6 points. Does that mean we're going to lose another 6 points for the second charge? When is that appeal going to go through? There is no part of me that is happy or relieved or any of that, because I honestly have no clue what's happening.
Right.
This appeal process went off for really long. Then there's the other thing of Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, like you said, are now below us, but they also might have a points deduction. How many points are they going to get deducted? Because Everton are over the limit by roughly 20 million. Forest by about 200 million. Everton didn't gain sporting advantage, and the 20 million that they have gone overboard is largely interest on loans that they have to repay thanks to the new stadium they're being made. Forest with their spending has had like clear sporting advantage which has not played out for them. But so will they be deducted 6 points? Will they be deducted more than 6 points? Will Everton have to pay double jeopardy and still lose another 6 points, which means overall 12 points are going to get lost? So honestly, I have no clue, man.
So I have a thought on this. Okay? I'm not a big fan of teams being deducted points in the middle of a season.
Okay.
I feel that regardless of when the crime happened, अगर तुम लोग का judicial process किसी साल खत्म हो रहा है and you have reached a verdict, then in the next off season is when the points penalty should come into effect, and so you start the next season with a deficit of points, because in the middle of a season when you deduct points and then give points back, it throws the entire league into a little bit of jeopardy, because बाजू का जो teams है their playing style also gets affected because they don't know what is happening. Everton are currently in the relegation zone, but maybe unko sare points mil gaye, so they'll be up and we'll be in the relegation zone. So what is the strategy that we need to have? वो सब बहुत स्ट्रेसफुल होता है. बट इफ चलो ये सीजन में उन लोग को पता चला कि यार एवर्टन का ये इशू है, they said next season we'll deduct 10 points from you. Then Everton appeals. All of this is happening off the pitch. On the pitch, in the league, everything's going fine. They appeal. They say, "अच्छा ठीक है, तुम्हारा appeal accept हो गया. So now you're only being deducted 6 points, etc., etc., etc." By the end of the season, you finally figure out, boss, कितना points निकालने का. अभी final call is 6, then 6. Then next season, Everton starts with -6 points. It should be as simple.
That's a good point.
I absolutely agree, because what's also, and what I've been experiencing with Everton over the last few game weeks is so much uncertainty, because like you're saying, obviously the teams around Everton also get affected, but Dyche has been playing very cautious football, because when you're level on points with the team that's placed 18, you are pretty much in the relegation zone. So you can't risk losing even 1 point. So against your Palace, you have to try and make sure, bhai, 1 point to ghar pe leke hi jayenge. But if, for example, 1 week ago Everton found this out and found out that there's actually a 5-point buffer between the relegation zone and Everton, then you can be like, you know what, we're playing Palace. Palace have been weak. They're going through a change. Go for the win. Push it. हार गए तो चलेगा, we have 5-point buffer. So that has changed the way Everton have played football over the last few game weeks, which is also really unfair. And I am very, very certain that we will see a change in play style from Dyche and his team now, because that 5-point buffer means slightly you can breathe a sigh of relief. Not fully again because of the second charge, but right now you're like, okay, as things stand, we can afford to be a little bit risky in our play. So it's just, and honestly, that's why I'm being able to cut off from Everton, because I'm feeling so jaded with football. Like even this episode, we spoke about a cup final. We didn't actually discuss the goal that went in. All we're discussing is offside tha ki nahi tha, VAR is so shit, £1 billion have been spent on a team. That's not the game. The game is the game. What happens on the pitch has taken such a backseat because everything else is a shit show.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's talk about some things that Everton players are up to off the pitch, because James Tarkowski, Amazon Prime has launched a new reality series called Married to the Game, which basically talks about the lives of players and their wives or their partners off the pitch. And there were some interesting clips from this that did the rounds on Twitter. James Tarkowski was featured in this. In particular, his flirting was highlighted, because there's a clip where his wife says, "Oh, everybody looks so gorgeous," and James Tarkowski is just looking into her eyes deeply and just says, "Especially you. I planned that for you." And she's just like, "Oh my God, James, I did not expect that." And everybody's just like, Everton का और 10 point निकालो ये घटिया flirting की वजह से.
Overacting का 50 रुपए काट.
And then they were asked, when they were at home, they were asked what their favorite activity together is. And James Tarkowski, the gentleman that he is, without batting an eyelid, just says, shagging. So she's like, bro.
And then she laughs. And then she laughs and she's like, but I've always said this, that we really like just being in bed together and cuddling, and so that's my favorite part of the day. Also shagging. Like even she underlined it. She didn't just let it pass. She was like, "Hey, it's not the only thing. I also love cuddling with you. But shagging is important."
Shagging is very, very
and my
important.
main thought was, chalo, at least someone at Everton is scoring.
Yes. Fantastic. I think on that note, it is time to end this episode, QK. That is a perfect note to end it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of The Corner Flag. If you'd like to get in touch with us and tell us what you thought of this episode or any other episode, you can reach us on our social media. You can find Aakarsh on Instagram at
Aakarsh Chandan.
You can find Prashant on Instagram at
Prash224.
And you can find me on Instagram at Amogh Randive. You can also follow the Corner Flag on Instagram at Corner Flag Pod. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel at the rate Corner Flag Pod on YouTube. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And do not forget to give us a 5-star review. Shout out to Kezad Gharda for composing our theme tune. And until next week, it is goodbye from us. So say bye, Aakarsh.
Bye.
Say bye, Prashant.
Bye, guys.
And it's bye from me.